Welcome to In Progress, a podcast to help you grow and learn how to become a better version of yourself. Now, here's your host, Michael Cirigliano.
Welcome, everybody, to In Progress podcast with Michael Cirigliano. We got special guest today, Joe Delgado, life coach, entrepreneur, motivational speaker, all of the above. Joey, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Doing really well. I'm glad to have you on. I'm glad that you made the time, took the time out of your day to get on today. What are you getting into with your, I see the indestructible behind you. What are you getting into nowadays?
Well, now these days, I'm getting heavily into just life coaching and health coaching. I'm a huge advocate and a huge believer on, building up overall health nationwide. More importantly, nationwide and maybe the rest of the world. But I had started this journey a couple of years ago. I had some health problems that was going on that I self-diagnosed. And I decided to educate myself on nutrition, and I was just blown away on how much wrong information is out there. And it just made me think about just overall on just life and just in business, money, finances, and all that type of stuff. And so once I started hearing the right information about health and nutrition, it clicked to me. I was like, yeah, this definitely makes sense to me. So I'm really big into, ketogenesis, and fasting for life. Don't care what anyone says. Like I'm a huge believer in fasting, and I believe that anyone that's able, they should be fasting some different remnants of fasting in their life. But yeah, that's what I'm really getting into now. I have a huge passion. I've been coaching when I was an employee for 10 years of my career. I mean, all I could do was coach, and that's what I loved. I mean, if I was on the sales floor, everyone felt in surge energy. We have great sales days because of it. If we had any rally calls, any rally meetings, I was always involved. I always, loved developing people and getting people to the next step. So that's why I was just like, you know what, I can do that for myself and probably do it, a little bit better in a different space.
Yeah, absolutely. For those of you that are tuning in right now and don't know Joe, Joe was actually coaching me for a little bit of time there. Joe, I can honestly say that Joe has made a significant impact on my life. Majority in the positive. But no, he's honestly, his ability to coach is phenomenal. I've never had somebody in my life coach me and be able to understand me the way that he did. So if you are trying to get into a healthier lifestyle, if you're trying to just talk to Joe one-on-one, I would highly recommend it. Joe is by far the best coach that I've ever had. He's very in tune with people. He's a little aggressive, so you're gonna have to be able to deal with that. I don't know if you've toned it down since then, but it worked for me. But I want to bring it back to you said you self-diagnosed an illness or condition with yourself, and then you changed your diet to overcome it. What was that exactly?
Yeah. So, first, thank you so much for all that. I appreciate it, sir. We definitely had some great times. Yeah, it's always great. And appreciate you having me on the show so I can talk about my experiences and help people. But yeah, I mean, I was at the time I was a district manager in Ohio, and one of my stores I was in retail. One of my stores I had no employees, able to work for that day. So, I mean, it was a really small store too. And so I walked around the store, setting it up, and it wasn't just like me sprinting around or anything like that. It was just a really, a couple of steps here and there and whatever. And all of a sudden I was just like, and I was like, man, I cannot be this out of shape. I cannot be out of breath. I just did a quick walk around, and right around that time too, I had this higher up from our company come to one of my locations, like the president of the company, come to this location, one of my stores. And I didn't even think much about it. You know, we were sitting in a store, we were standing around him, and we're like, yeah, whatever. Also, my Apple Watch goes off and it says, alert, your heart rate is over 120 beats per minute for the last 10 minutes.
Damn.
Yeah, and so for the next week, and I was like, what? No, it can't be, because I was just like this, you know, calm, and I didn't think much about it.
Yeah.
So I was putting my hand on my chest, and I wasn't really feeling my heart rate. So I was like, you know what, my watch is messed up, but it has to be wrong.
Yes, absolutely.
Broken. Yeah. So the next week I went to another store. I walked in and I could not like just calm down. I don't know what it was. I was walking around. I leaned on a table, and I just like I was breathing really heavily. I was like I think I need to go to the hospital. Like I don't know what's wrong. Like I just felt like I was so wound up. I couldn't calm down. And you know, I was like, this is terrifying. I'm 30 years old. Like there's no reason, no absolute reason why I should be doing this like at all.
Yeah.
And come to find out, I wasn't out of breath. There's an actual thing called oxygen hungry. So you become oxygen hungry because things are not just working. It's a condition called adrenal fatigue. So when I started listening to that and researching about that, I looked at the last 10 years of my life. I'm like, huh. I get up every day, I chug a bunch of caffeine, I get to work, I'm freaking rah, stressed out like all the time with sales and all that type of stuff, and no exercise, crappy diet, maybe some alcohol mixed in there, or time or two. So over time, I'm like, yeah, I 100%, had this thing called adrenal fatigue. And I discovered this guy. His name is Dr. Berg, which I recommend everyone to literally. I mean, he's literally he just educates people. That's his primary business. He just cares so much. He went through the same thing as me when he was my age. He was getting adrenal fatigue. He was going through, like, he had all these chronic health issues. He wasn't obese or anything like that. And yeah, I started reading and studying. I try to debunk all the things he was saying by my own research, and come to find out everything that he was saying was legit and right.
Yeah.
So I started that type of diet, and I dressed like almost instantly changed. I've been on so many diets in my life. Yo-yo dieting is what it's called. Within
just
1 week
between diets.
Yeah, just going back and forth and different ones, trying all this type of stuff.
I feel like that's what a lot of people do. How'd you get out of that?
I just listened to this dude. I listened to keto. Well, there's the brand, the title keto. I think it's terrible because everyone has, everyone wants to brand things and not like it and whatnot.
Yeah.
Whatever. If people knew about the anatomy about the human body and that what like the human body does and how it synthesizes the energy, they would know at the basis of all of that is ketogenesis. Right? So like regardless of what label you want to put on the diet or lifestyle you're going to do, you're going to be doing ketogenesis. And if you don't believe me, you can get piss strips. That's $10. When you wake up in the morning, test your pee. Guarantee you that's going to be screaming ketones. Like it's just that's just how it's going to work. But he teaches more primarily on hormones and so like what you said, most people are yo-yo dieting constantly because what they're doing is low calorie restricted diets, which is scientifically proven not only by most like science, technology, like literally all of it, that it's not effective. It doesn't work, and it actually causes more issues. It slows your thyroid down. Yeah, absolutely. And it stresses people out.
I was under the
because
impression calorie deficit was actually the way to go.
no. I mean, I don't count my calories, and I guarantee you that I probably eat more calories than a lot of people, and I still lose weight. I mean, it's mostly hormones is the biggest thing, and so out of the 50 plus hormones that your body produces, 9 impact weight loss or weight gain or appetite. So there's 6 hormones that would be considered fat burning hormones. And if you talk to any personal trainer, if you talk to anyone, especially out in this world today, they're going to have you try to focus on those 6 fat burning hormones, right? Because that makes sense. You want to lose weight, target these fat burning hormones and you'll lose weight.
Right.
But the problem is there's 3 hormones in your body that are fat producing. And if they're exposed in the body just a touch, it nullifies all 6 of those. It shuts them down completely. They don't work like at all. So when I started listening to this, I was like, this freaking makes sense. Like, I mean, and there is more and more doctors. I've been studying research papers, watching, literally just doctors freaking present on this. And I love listening to doctors when they're very sarcastic on the issue. I mean, this is their passion coming out of it. Like, I just love it. So that's absolutely a side note. But yeah, so yeah, 3 hormones, if they're exposed for any reason whatsoever, it completely shuts down all of the other ones. And in fact, the fat burning hormones, they're shut down. And in fact, these 3 fat producing hormones produces fat on top of that. And so this is the first, like, I started doing the things that, again, this guy was talking about, and started to, take a lot of this research and put it to practice. And again, any diet that I've ever done or any lifestyle or whatever that I try to adapt, I either never get anyone that says, "Oh, Joe, I see that you're losing weight" or whatever. This literally took 7 days, and it was like the fat. I didn't even realize, because I didn't see a change in the scale whatsoever within that time period. I literally walked into the store, saw that employee like within a week, and they're like, "Oh, dude, like you're looking good, man. Are you hitting the gym or something?" It's like, actually, no, I haven't been to the gym in a while.
Not at all.
Yeah, I've been doing the gym or whatever. And you're like, no, you look, I mean, because my acne was clearing. Like, I have adult acne, which is most adult, it's hormonal based, right? It's it's androgens or testosterone. So yeah, it was the quickest instant. I was like, all right, I think I'm onto something. And I dropped like 30 pounds in 3 months, less than 3 months. I live like just nothing but elevated everything, energy. The greatest thing about this type of lifestyle that I do, especially entrepreneurs, like yourself, me, the biggest thing that we need, this thing, right?
Yeah.
We need this thing to be freaking
always
on
firing.
point. Oh yeah, like non-stop burning fire that it can never be extinguished. And I think about this every day because I get so passionate about it. And I'm like, this feels like a super drug. I don't understand why no one like really like just doesn't adopt this lifestyle, because it literally feels like that I'm on some type of drug, like being able to focus on 5 different things. Like, and I'm obviously maybe embellishing a little bit,
right.
But that's what it feels like. I mean, you just can like, and like you actually do work, right? You don't put things off. You're not like, oh no, I'm going to do it tomorrow. You're like, I have the energy. I'm good to go. You retain information a lot faster. You actually do read, listen to books. Like, you're hanging on to all of those words and you're being more creative. Like, your mental function goes way up, and it's proven that if your brain has glucose or ketones available, ketones will always be absorbed quicker, and it's always going to be chosen from your brain. So, and if you can Google, the ketogenic diet or anything like that, if it's done properly, because there's what I would consider and what Dr. Berger would consider dirty keto, which is not focused on those hormones.
Is dirty keto like the commercialized keto?
Yeah, it's like you can go into a grocery store and get like keto bombs or like Slim Fast or all this like keto products.
Yeah.
But they'll have sucralose, aspartame. They'll have maltodextrin. All of these things that are going to spike insulin, which is one of the fat producing hormones. So even though
it's counterproductive.
Exactly. As long as it says 0 carbs and 0 sugar on it. So someone that's ill-informed, keto makes me lose a lot of weight really quick. That's what everyone says. And all I have to do is not eat carbs or reduce all my sugar to 0. No problem. But you consume all these chemicals and all these other additive things that spike insulin. Yeah. It's literally going to have the same effect. And you're going to do half-ass, which is not keto at all. And it's going to be low calorie restriction. It's going to give you all of that other shit. The hunger symptoms that, I'm never hungry. I hate being controlled by hunger. I don't know about you, but absolutely. I hate, especially being in retail, or working, life happens, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you get punched in the face. If you don't have food readily available, that's healthy anyways, what happens? You get irritable, you get these hangry symptoms.
Yep.
What has control of your life at that moment? Is it you or is it the food?
Food, 100%.
Food, yeah. And I mean, I can fast for 2 days. You put me next to someone that's glucose dependent and they don't eat for 4 hours. And I guarantee you,
you're gonna,
they're freaking out and I can run a mile. I'll be good.
Damn.
Let's go. I don't care, right? Yeah, I mean, it's you're never hungry because if you think if you're glucose dependent, you just got to think on the aspect. So your brain needs crazy amount of energy. It's more electrically charged than like your home, what they're saying in some cases.
Yeah.
And so if you're dependent on one fuel source, which is glucose, and your body is possibly getting a sense that it's being reduced and eliminated because it's probably a false signal, which it is. The hormone is off balance and it's not working properly. Your brain's going to start to panic. So those hangry symptoms are literally your brain freaking out because it doesn't think it's going to get it's losing its fuel source.
Right, exactly.
So if you train your body that there's a different fuel source, and I can write down numbers and show you that it's all practically unlimited fuel source, even if you're not obese, almost unlimited. Your brain, you won't go out through any of that. Once the glucose goes down or you're not using glucose, it's just going to convert to your other fuel source. And
which is the ketone, right?
Yeah. Well, ketones is the byproduct of fat burning. So that's why I say that if anyone understands the anatomy of what happens in the body, just the basic concept, if anyone wants to lose weight, they have to go through ketosis. They're going to go through ketosis. When they burn fat, their body produces ketones as a byproduct. So again, no matter what you call it whatever diet you want to call it, you're going to go through ketogenesis. It is what it is. So you either can fight it because mainstream media or whatever people want to tell you and all this type of stuff.
Right.
Or you can embrace it and just, jump right into it.
So what is your a day, what do you eat in a day that is this ketogenesis diet, as opposed to because my idea of keto up until me talking to you right now was basically any source of protein, any source of fat, low carb, and you're good to go. and I see these people like consuming like mass amount of bacon, burgers, burgers with lettuce though, like shit like that. Like, is that keto or is that dirty keto?
Uh, yeah, I mean, yes and no. So I mean, I have 2 meals a day. When I do consume anything, I do intermittent fasting. So that's a window of time. And so today, I mean, my window of time starts at 10, and my last meal was at 4. So that was that's what, 6 hours.
Mm.
So I fast for 18. Right. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be more fat. But dirty keto is going to be people that are not adding in a plethora of vegetables, which is going to be very important. And it's going to be higher quality of protein. And it's not a lot of protein. I mean, everyone talks about how much protein you need all the time. And that's a complete, bullshit, because protein can convert into sugar relatively quick. So
Right.
if you eat lean protein, it's going to turn into sugar, which is going to spike insulin. So it doesn't matter. It's going to have negative effects, right? So you want to increase the quality of protein, because with the problem, the other hormone so insulin's a major hormone, right? That's a dominant hormone that produces fat. And side note, I'm just going to explain, it's a survival tactic. Just think about the fact, like, so every time you eat, it increases insulin. So no matter what it is, and then once your liver detects what it is, then it pushes either insulin away, or it tells it, it needs more.
Mm-hmm.
It's a survival tactic. So if insulin is out, that's telling the body that there's readily available sugar in the blood, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the two jobs of insulin is push nutrients in the cell and store sugar, like, so i.e. fat, right?
Right.
It stores it. So if insulin's out, that means there's readily available glucose available in the blood.
Mm-hmm.
So why would your body burn anything that's stored? So it's literally a defense mechanism. Hey, insulin's out. Don't touch the stored energy, because we have readily available energy now. Let's keep the stored energy for when we don't have the readily available energy, right?
Right.
So the other hormone is estrogen. Estrogen is a fat-producing hormone.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get just commercial livestock food, meat, protein, I mean, we're feeding them soy, we're injecting them with estrogen, because fattier meat tastes better to us.
Really?
And we're also injecting them with growth hormone, right? Because if it's a commercial farm, we need that animal to grow 10 times the size in a fraction of the time, right?
Right.
That's just profits.
Right.
So, chicken overall chicken's just not good. It's a really dirty and unclean animal. They actually have a
Really?
lot of, yeah, and they're lean too, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you get commercial chicken, it's going to be highly estrogenic, because they're going to be fed, not only they're going to be fed corn, which is GMO, and everything that pretty much is to do about GMO is estrogenic. And then we're going to be injecting them with estrogen on top of that. And that gets stuck 100%. That the muscle absorbs that, and that bad boy stays in there until it gets onto your plate. Like, estrogen will
Damn.
get into your body that way. And so we're feeding them estrogen, we're injecting them with estrogen. Same thing with cows, same thing with any animal that's in commercial. So yeah, I mean, you can have a burger with lettuce, that'll be great. Grass-fed, pasture-raised, you want to eliminate those hormones and
Mm-hmm.
all that garbage feed. And with eggs, again, same thing, pasture-raised. You want them out in the pasture eating grass.
Right.
Like, that's pretty much it.
So even with the eggs can get the estrogen from the chicken that was injected with and has been consuming estrogen-filled products. So the egg can even be full of estrogen, is what you're saying. So you're
Yeah,
not even safe from eggs unless you get the right ones.
right. Same thing with, cheese even. So I eat 2 meals a day. One meal, I love eggs and bacon too. So sometimes it's bacon, but some other time, sometimes usually another meat, like just ground beef or something like that. Eggs, and then I drink electrolyte powder like all day. It's literally just electrolytes. It's not your bullshit Gatorade and all that other type of shit.
Right. Full of sugar.
Yeah, and other chemicals, and then fructose, which is literally killing our kids. But and then my second meal is usually, it's either going to be some type of seafood, wild caught seafood, again, not farm raised. And
how do you find wild caught? Like, because on the package it'll say wild caught. That doesn't actually mean wild caught, though, does it? Doesn't that mean they was just raised in an environment that's a little larger than a fish farm?
That's a good. I mean, I'm assuming I'm going off of wild caught as wild caught.
Okay.
I haven't heard that before, that theory. I mean,
but the results are there, so whatever you're doing is working.
Yeah, I mean, if you I know studies about salmon. Salmon's a really quick one compared to farmed and wild caught that you would get out of a grocery store.
Right.
Farm is gray, like farm raised salmon is actually gray, and they have to inject coloring into it to make it pink and to make it look like actual salmon. So if you get farm raised has a ton of other stuff too, because obviously it's, ingesting,
Bullshit.
the poop and pee, right? Yeah, right. all that garbage. So yeah, I mean, wild caught, there might be a threat because it's out down in the ocean or whatever, but it's definitely, I mean, it's a lot better than farm raised. So it's gonna be seafood or some type of protein, and there's vegetables, broccoli, carrots, as just a pile of vegetables. Filling my body up to the brim of vegetables pretty much, because that's what you need to do. The thing is, when you consume fat, your liver will actually start producing fat. And the cool thing is about that is that it doesn't produce fat to actually store it. It produces fat to burn it to make ketones. So your body becomes more of a energy factory when you're on like a ketogenic diet, because ketones just literally means energy. I'm not telling anyone that they need to go out and buy anything for ketones, right? Because uses it. You don't need to buy. Like I'm a huge person against supplements. Like I just don't believe in really a ton of them. No, I mean, some of them, yeah, and depending on if you have a conditioner or whatever. But electrolytes. And so I only have 2 meals, and they're kind of small. So I do have to have some, because I'm not going to be able to consume as much food as I need to get all of the nutrients. But the cool thing is your body drastically goes down on the dependency of nutrients. So you become more efficient, right? And then if you mix that with fasting, which is literally the holy grail of everything. If you, any woman that's listening to this and you're putting collagen on and makeup and all that type of stuff, because you want to counteract the crow's feet, the wrinkles, and you want to go back in age, all you gotta do is fast. I mean, it's literally your body has a process to literally correct aging. It reverses aging, not only cosmetically or in your face and stuff like that, but joints, muscles, all that type of stuff. If you're living in a sedentary lifestyle right now, your office, you're not really active that much, you're getting a ton of muscle atrophy and joint atrophy right now. Fasting is the fear of all of this, right? Is that if you don't eat, you eat yourself. You eat all the muscles, you deplete muscle, like all this type of stuff, especially when you exercise and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Which is absolutely not true. Really? No, I mean, your body, you're like, a lot of people actually sometimes don't even lose weight initially, or they'll drop a bunch of water weight in the beginning and then they'll plateau for a while, because there's a lot of healing that they need to go through. And the body is it's very intelligent. It knows to use the natural resources on the body for healing before it starts burning fat and starts reconfiguring your body composition to a healthier weight. It's going to make sure it heals. And the big thing about that is your muscles. It immediately goes to your muscles. And if anyone's not working out, or, part of their body is, not being active and whatnot, they're going to have atrophy, which is going to be loose muscles that are not able to, work. They can't contract or anything like that. So your body will you can literally gain muscle mass just on, fasting and doing it properly, because your body's just going to heal itself because it knows that muscle is most important tissue. Almost, it's survival. Like we need muscles to fight or flight. Like it's that whole concept of the sympathetic nervous system. Like it needs it. So fasting, I can talk about fasting for days. Autophagy is literally, it's crazy, and it's something that we're not taught in school or anything like that. It's
None of
crazy.
this is.
Yeah, it's bananas. That's why I'm thinking, like, I'm just like, this is nuts. There's a presentation I watched about, the presentation was labeled, is a calorie, right? So like, are all calories, treated equal, right?
Yeah.
And that's like on a low calorie restriction diet, or a lot of other, celebrity nutritionists and stuff like that will actually be like, yeah, just moderation, right? You can eat whatever you want. Like, I mean, even like, I forgot what the one diet was, but you can eat whatever you want, just doing small like times throughout the day and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And because the concept is, if I eat 100 calories worth of donut, that's the same thing as 100 calories of a salad or whatever.
They had that they had that movie, didn't they? There was a guy that went into it, like lived an entire month off a gas station food, and he lost weight. He lost weight from gas station food just because of calories.
Yeah, you can probably lose weight, but
I mean, starving
health,
yourself, I'd assume, but
yeah. I mean, but overall health though, like there's gonna be issues that happen longevity wise, like, right? Because it's not just being overweight, right? Obesity is 2/3 of the population, but that doesn't mean that literally you have to be obese to be unhealthy.
Right.
I unfortunately know people that are blowing holes through their nose, drinking 6 to 7 days a week, all day, every day. Like, they have a healthy BMI. They have would be considered a healthy body fat percentage.
Right.
But those assholes are not healthy. So it doesn't matter, right?
Right.
I mean, just obesity, unfortunately, or weight gain usually comes along for the ride. I mean, because again, it's hormonal issues that's usually going on.
What you're doing is more, it promotes health in the long term as well as short term.
Yeah, absolutely. It literally it extends life. Like, so it's just crazy too. As I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything like that.
Run it up.
Yeah. So this doctor, in this presentation, calories and calorie or whatever, it was a pretty good presentation. He brought up the fact he was like, in the 70s, the government wanted to do an experiment, and I'm sitting here thinking, I was like, I have to hope because what he said next, I was like, I have to hope that this was actually legitimately the truth. So like, Nixon wanted to reduce costs for food for the American people because farming was getting too expensive. Like, the food costs were increasing, and he wanted to make sure that they leveled, the cost for food. So the American people, all American people had the ability to eat nutritious food, at a cost-effective rate.
Right.
So I have to believe that that's the truth, right? So they came out with the nutritional guidelines. And what is, I mean, everyone knows the food pyramid, right?
Right.
What's the bottom of that?
Full of
Fucking
carbs.
Carb,
Full of
whole
carbs.
grains, rice, and all this type of stuff. But also, what happened after that? A huge uptick in how we process foods, right? And ideally, all that meant was increased profit margins. We increased the chemicals and the everything. Soy is extremely cheap. Soy is extremely estrogenic, and it's in everything. Soy protein isolates and soy glycogen. I guarantee you can go into your cupboard, anything with a label on it, you look at the ingredients, there's going to be some type of soy in it. And it's a lean protein. And we're told for a really long time, soy milk, it's a great alternative to regular milk because you don't want fat, right? You don't want fat.
Right.
You want to drink soy because it's lean. So there's a ton of terrible information. So now we have all of these doctors and all like the medical field is like literally like, this is terrible. Like, we have the most greatest advances in technology, intelligence, but we're dying more. Like, how is that possible? Like, how are we advancing? Yeah, it does not make sense at all. Like diabetes, heart disease, cancer. There's a lot of properties in, fasting that's actually anti-cancer. Like it's literally reverses. I mean, there's so many like healthy benefits on promoting healthy hormones, fasting, and all that type of stuff. And you literally can, prevent all these types of things. But again, like we have so many people that are dying, and now we're actually our kids are getting it. So fructose, two things have to be decomposed or broken down by the liver directly. And that's alcohol and fructose. And fructose
is in
everything. And it doesn't give you a hangover, doesn't get you inebriated. So you can grab a bottle of juice, drink it to work, eat something at work, drink juice all day long. I'm drinking juice. That's healthy.
That's healthy.
Right? And fructose sounds healthy because it's fruit. It sounds like fruit. So if you're a betting person, you're just like, yeah, this has to be good. Literally, kids are getting diseases associated with alcoholism.
To add to that, and to kind of run into the conspiracy thing that you were talking about, it's not really a conspiracy, but I stumbled upon it while looking at conspiracies. They're actually, so I don't know if you're aware of this or not. In Europe, there's a lot of food that we provide in the United States that is not available for purchase at all in Europe. And there was a specific study done in Italy. That's why I know about it. And the study was it was about the livestock, right? Meat. So everybody was like how you were saying, pumping these animals with all these growth hormones and estrogen and everything. And they were noticing that cancer rates in Italy were rising, and little girls were developing breasts a lot sooner in life, and little boys were actually starting to get gynecomastia. Yes. And they associated that to the chemicals that they were putting into the livestock to, profit. So in Europe, they banned all of this. So all the imports from America in Europe, they banned it. So now any meats that you get in Europe are just regular, normal farm, like meat and vegetables. They banned it because of these side effects. In America, they were like, yeah, but the money. And they just let it keep going. And that's part of our like daily like diet. Like we're eating, we can eat, like you said, you can go to the store and buy beef. And unless it's properly raised, you're getting all of these chemicals, not directly. I mean, kind of directly, but they're being pumped into the animal when it's alive. Then they kill it, process it, and then sell it to you. And it's like you're none the wiser because we're never taught to look for this kind of thing. Whole time across the ocean, you can't get it. And even like things like that red dye 40 or whatever, we let that happen in our Cheetos, our Doritos. You can't find the hot Cheetos, the flaming hot Cheetos. You cannot find those in Europe because of that. Like, it's insane to me that America's allowed to do all of these things. And then when you go over to another country, they're like, absolutely not. That's killing our people. We can't have that. And America's just like, no, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up. I'm listening to a book right now, Estrogenics, and that presentation too. Talked about literally, the population compared to us, and health rates are not as great everywhere else too. We just unfortunately have obesity along with it. Like everywhere else, they have all the diseases as well, if not more in some cases, like China and India. So in the book, this book Estrogenics, this doctor, like literally he there's a top 10 IRS estrogenic list. So he goes through them all and he talks about them, and he literally like there's a section on every product. It's like, where is it illegal? And like he talks about how they're banned. He's like, this was banned in Europe at this day, blah blah blah, and this day in this country. In America, and he eventually is like, I don't have to tell you America's stance on this. And he goes to the next one. And I think it was apes, or I can't pronounce it. I don't know, whatever. Apes is in everything. It's a chemical that's in everything. It's in our soaps and whatever. Extremely, extremely estrogenic. It's another synthetic plastic that's in our products. And he was like, yeah, so, there's actually a board of committees that are actually going and trying to compete and get this removed out of our systems, like out of our companies, our manufacturing. So, but the problem is that this is heavily patented by the U.S. government, or by the FDA. He's like, oh, there it is. And he goes right to the next chapter, like very sarcastically, like, oh, there it is. That's the problem. And yeah, dude, I don't know. Like it sucks, because if you go out to any world, and this is the problem with me trying to have a conversation with anyone, so I'm gonna always bring up, like, unfortunately, health, because I'm just blown away at how we're being herded like sheep. And so I don't blame anyone when anyone like talks, especially about promoting being unhealthy. I just think that's illogical. I don't think that makes sense, because if you look at the core essence of how the body, your body thrives with growth. Just look at when you exercise. Your body breaks down your muscles and then it rebuilds them back up stronger and more resilient, to prepare for the more stress, right? That happens all over the place in your body. Your body just loves and thrives on growth. So whenever someone tells me or says, that they're happy being obese, or they're happy, like,
who
eating
the
all
fuck
this
is
garbage,
saying that?
and I mean, like, that's the huge thing now, right? Like, it comes all in shapes and different sizes, which I definitely agree. I agree with, everyone's going to look different when they're healthy. But
You're
we should not be
to the body shaming, right?
Yeah. I don't agree at all. That literally is going to make the problem worse, right? That's just
absolutely
prolong and make everything worse. And I'm not for it at all.
Yeah, there was actually a skit that I was watching in a podcast where this comedian, and I believe it was Andrew Schultz. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He was talking about body positivity, and body positivity as a concept is phenomenal, because, like you said, people come in all different shapes and sizes. You love the body that you're in, but there's a point when that has to be stopped, right? So if you're, just a thicker person, like you're a little chubby, okay. If you're very skinny, okay, like you can moderate that to an extent. But when we're like praising obesity, and like there are obese models, he was saying there's obese models and they do nothing to prepare for being a model. There are models who diet and exercise to have the body of a model. And then because of this body positivity movement, there are models who are morbidly obese, like Lizzo, for example, who is an icon in the public eye. You're familiar with Lizzo, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She's an icon in the public eye. Oh my God, she's a bad bitch. She loves her body. Da, da, da. She is morbidly obese. She's extremely unhealthy, but she's an image for other obese women to be like, no, I'm a bad bitch. And you can have the bad bitch mentality now while you're being morbidly obese. But like you're saying, that's only going to lead to problems down the line. We should not be promoting morbid obesity in our society. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, I agree on both sides of the fence. Like, we should never proactively be hateful. Like, that just perpetuates the issue. Like, it just doesn't, again, just doesn't make sense, right? We shouldn't be calling people fat or anything like that. I'm more like, hey, we gotta help, like something, like,
right.
And again, it doesn't, there is actually, I forgot what it's called right off the top of my head, but you can actually be 100% healthy and actually be overweight. That it's a very rare, I want to call it a condition, but it's a rare case, and it's an actual thing. So, and I get that, but the thing is, like, Cosmopolitan, and I watched a little video, and it was a talk show, and the talk show person asked, it was a personal trainer, and the personal, some question, personal trainer was like, well, if you can clearly look at me and you can probably just assume that I'm healthy, compared to there was someone that was obese next to him, and he was like, well, you can clearly, like, we can see that you're probably just not healthy. And her rebuttal was that she's like, I don't think that's fair. You wouldn't be asking or telling that to any other skinny person, which is true, which I get. But she also said, she was like, I think there's too much stress and pressure to be healthy in this world today, which I call healthism. I was like, you're making words up now. But she was like, there's too much pressure. Like, I'm happy for who I am, and like, that's all I want to do. And in the back of my mind, I was like, if you're happy that way, then you need to shut up, because just like what you said, you're promoting that, and then you have millions of Americans, or people, just millions of people that will watch that like are not fulfilled, not happy, and have children that are sitting right next to them, right? And you're promoting, it doesn't, like, don't give a fuck, like, just do it, right? Like, eat your ice cream, all this other type of stuff,
right?
Don't work out, all that type of stuff. You're condoning that to someone that is actually not happy about that, but they're getting convinced, you know what? Yeah. Hey, I should be happy. And the thing is, like, dude, kids right now weren't born with this. They're saying that 10% of children in America have insulin resistance. Just think about this for just a hot minute. Insulin resistance as a child, that you are born into this world clean slate. You don't know about stress. You don't know about nutrition. You don't know about food. You don't know about anything, right? You are fed stuff from your parents. So just think about the fact that you're fed for 18 years, first 18 years of your life. You graduate high school, a doctor sits you down and says, congratulations, you just graduated high school, you're embarking on for the rest of your life. Also, congratulations, you have diabetes because your parents fed you a particular lifestyle. And unfortunately, diabetes is not curable. And it comes along with an ever-relenting addiction to food that you're going to have to struggle with for the rest of your life. And you know what? You're not going to be able to indulge. You got to be able to monitor this for the rest of your life, or you might lose a foot, lose a hand. You might go blind, or you might have a standing appointment every single day with me because your kidneys fail and we have to filter your blood out. Or you'll stop remembering. Think about if you have a kid, you see them get born, it's beautiful, amazing, and then you go blind and you never see them grow up, or you just don't remember them because you get Alzheimer's, which is diabetes type 3. Right. Or none of that actually might happen. You might just die, right? That's the actual real problem that I have a problem with when people are boasting about being unhealthy, they're not thinking about that. The kids that have no idea about anything are being fed this trash, this garbage. And there's estrogenics. There's literally synthetic plastics that are designed in a lab to not be broken down. We consume those. So they're designed to not be broken down to extend shelf life, right? In a food product. And we consume them, right? And so this doctor literally said, there was an oil spill in like 2010, like millions of gallons of oil just spewed out in the ocean. There's EE2, I think it's called. He was like, if you take a cup of this and dump it into the ocean is going to degrade and break down the oil, millions of gallons of oil that was dumped in the ocean, quicker than that cup of that EE2 that we put into our food, our all that type of stuff. And it's estrogenic. So just think about this. If you're sitting here today and like, you know what, I'm going to change. I'm going to get healthy and all this type of stuff. That shit could be in your system for years, even though that you're working on being healthy. And a lot of this stuff is causing miscarriages, it's causing low T or low testosterone, infertility. Like there's a bigger issue other than just a body image, right? I mean, we're killing our kids, we're killing people at an alarming rate, and people are just dying left and right. And the worst thing about it is, how about you don't die? Something fails on your body and you live for another 40 years suffering. You got a little plastic baggie on the side of you that you're defecating in. You lost your foot, you can't play with your grandkids or your children. Like it's so freaking impactful, and like there's times that is irreversible. And there's a lot of medical professionals that are not even helping. Right?
Absolutely.
They don't do any root cause analysis when you go to the doctors. Like, saw this meme. It's so dumb that it was a meme though, but it was so great. Like, if you go to the doctors and they don't ask you about lifestyle before they prescribe you anything, you need to walk out. And that is our life, like 100%, because 100%. Pharmaceuticals are a business. And most of the people that are committees on dietary guidance, nutritional guidance, most of those people that are on that board are on those boards are boards of pharmaceuticals and boards of it's
the
silly.
The pharmaceutical industry in America is wild. I was doing a little bit of research into it a while back, and just a couple little notes on it. Just like the quickest, simplest one, aspirin, right? Have you heard of the aspirin one? No. Okay. So Dandelion is known to help with heart health, right?
Yeah.
So Dandelion helps with heart health. Aspirin also helps with heart health, blood pressure, all that, right? Aspirin also manufactures Roundup, weed killer, because dandelion's a weed. So they manufacture aspirin to help your heart, and then they also manufacture a chemical to kill the natural heart helping plant growing in your yard that you can consume. You can go to a grocery store and buy dandelion in bulk and eat it, and it's not the best tasting, but it's good for your health. And then another
tea too.
You
can get dandelion tea.
Yes, exactly. And it's crazy that this company manufactures something to help your heart and then manufactures something to kill the plant that helps your heart. But the pharmaceutical industry actually, prior to, I don't know the date, but I'm assuming you're familiar with Rothschilds, Rockefeller, all that, right?
Yeah.
So the Rothschilds or Rockefeller, I forgot which one it was, basically incentivized Western medicine to start using the current day pharmaceuticals, because we were using Eastern medicine, herbs, plants, all of that stuff. Incentivize colleges to start teaching Western medicine so that they can get the ball rolling, because oil is used in the capsules to create this Western medicine. So now we have medication that fixes all these problems or whatever, but in Eastern medicine, there's herbs to do all of that as well. So now when you go to the doctor, there's incentives on prescribing medications, there's incentives to colleges to teach Western medicine, and the entire time you can get the same benefits from herbs and all of that. Dr. Sebi was a huge advocate for Eastern medicine. Huge. And he said Western medicine is the biggest joke, because Western medicine now is like, even when it comes to drug addiction, they have, like, I have a buddy of mine who was a heroin addict, and he was prescribed just over-the-counter heroin. And to me, I'm just like, how is that rehabilitating anybody? He's still dependent on this drug. He just has to go to a pharmacy now to get the drug. Like, Western medicine is the biggest joke. And like you said, the pharmaceutical industry just makes sure that everything is in line to basically line their pockets. Fuck the country.
Yeah. So I love America. I love America. I love this country. Like, I wouldn't be, I have a roof over my head. I have clean drinking water somewhat. But no, like, I don't know how it is in other countries, right? Other than what I can read and all that other bullshit. But I'm free to do whatever I want, right? We're a product of our own demise, unfortunately, right? Because I'm a huge thing about, I love capitalism. I love the fact that we all can go out and eat what we can kill. Like, it's anyone's game.
Yeah.
I think that's the great spirit of just life. But again, like, we're a huge, product of our own demise. Like, with capitalism, especially with the profits and all that type of stuff, it's bad. And then we have the brainwashing of just overall, just in general. I sound like a nut. But
no, you're true. If you even look at the simplest form of it, right? McDonald's is not healthy at all, but that kids meal and the toys and the commercials for them looks real appealing to a kid. So your kid wants to go get a happy meal from McDonald's because the clown said so. And you're going to get a toy when you get your burger and nuggets and juice full of fructose. Like, brainwashing, the word brainwashing sounds absolutely crazy, but when you break it down to how simple it really is, it's done in advertising. Like, the psychology of advertising is insanely good, and they do it at the youngest age.
Well, the thing is, like, back to what I was going to say is that it doesn't even have to be as good as today anymore, right? Because it's not, I don't believe that it's anyone saying, that they don't want to be healthy or all this type of stuff, right? It is what they're believed. It's not coming from that person. It's coming from the world that they live in, and now they're addicted, right? I am addicted to soul food. Even though that I don't have cravings and I'm not hungry, it's a huge thing. And the problem is that you're the minority if you want to be healthy, if you want to do anything good in your life, if you want anything great, right? This is a Saturday night and we're not out drinking and partying and acting like an idiot.
Right.
That is completely
that's taboo.
Off-center. Right. And that's the thing. Like, you want friends, go out to eat. Guess what? You're going to be made fun of if you decide to eat. And you know how many times I've been ridiculed? And I've been on keto, so I can eat a steak with broccoli and it's greasy and it's delicious, right? Yeah. But people don't know that. Like, oh, you're dieting, whatever. All you gotta do is to go to the gym and lift some weights and get bulk up. That's terrible advice. And I'm working on me. You should be able to support me, right? You should be able to be like, well, that's good, man. Like, I want to see your journey. I want to know more about it. Can you talk to me about it? Whatever.
Absolutely.
But that's not the thing. The problem is that you get ridiculed, you get pushed because everyone else needs justification why they're not doing it. Exactly. And justification on why what they're doing is right, is because everyone has to be right. And so you can't be social. If you want to do anything for yourself, it's impossible to be social unless you go to you pay money to go to a networking event, which is, 100% obviously ideal.
Right.
But I mean, you're not going to be able to do that all the time. And no matter what, you're going to still be at home by yourself. The meals are just going to be, it's not going to be, MSG alone, which increases insulin 300%, by the way, little side note. But what it does is it expands your taste buds.
Mm-hmm.
So it triggers your brain. Like, dude, think about it. You eat next time you eat mac and cheese, if you still eat that shit. But if you eat that mac and cheese, think about this. You might not be actually, the taste that you're eating might not even be that. It might be you're tasting all those chemicals and you're tasting an illusion, right? Because it's expanding. Your taste buds are going fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And it's telling your brain something completely different. It might actually taste like cardboard.
Right.
We have no idea of that, right? And it gets to a point where when you eat actual real food, natural food, it's disgusting. I have a juicer. I juiced oranges, like real oranges, nothing else. I had my friend drink it, and he was like, "That's because it was bitter, right?"
Yeah.
And it looked different. It wasn't like orange; it was really yellow.
Yeah.
It looks completely different than what you would see in a grocery store.
Exactly.
And it's not cooked down. It's bitter. It's very acidic. It's natural. It's like in our bodies, we should be naturally craving that, and we run from it.
Yeah.
And it's from years and years of just abuse. But overall, like, again, like, everyone around you is gonna coach you not to do it. And it's not even they're trying to be negative. They're trying to be, they have to be right. That's human nature. We all have to be right. And then on top of that, they want to try to protect you because they think their information is right. So if you tell anyone, again, if you go out in the world and you talk about keto and instantly, that's dumb, that's unhealthy or whatever, there's going to be a lot of bashing.
Always.
And I just sit there. I'm like, yeah, I mean, do you know how your body metabolizes energy? Like, how does it work? And do you know the real reason why people are overweight and whatnot? And I was talking to someone not too long ago, and she has a friend that's overweight or whatever, and she does yo-yo dieting. And she was like, yeah, I just told her that she just needs to start working out. And I was like, I'm completely against that mentality.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with the diet. The diet will fix itself for later on because most people eat, it's an emotional response. It's psychological.
Right.
I was like, I'll definitely agree with that for sure. But again, back to what I was saying about muscle atrophy and joint atrophy. If you just tell someone to go work out, they're probably going to have a certain image that's going to be portrayed from society. I got to go to a gym. I got to lift weights. I got to get sweaty. I got to get out of breath. So they're going to be going to a place that they probably hate. They're embarrassed. They're going to be lifting weights where their muscles are not strong enough to even hold up their own body, right? Yep. They can't even do a push-up. So they're adding more resistance. So what are they going to do outside of the soreness from tearing their muscle? They're going to be in pain.
Yeah.
Their joints are going to hurt. And you're trying to get someone to have a consistent, healthy lifestyle like every day.
Right.
Where that person's going to take off for the next 5 days. It's going to hurt. Oh, yeah. And they're going to be depressed from it, miserable. And that's going to convince them, you know what, this ain't worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then they stop. That's where the yo-yo dieting comes in.
Yeah. And I'm just like, that's the problem. Like, we have so many people that want to be advice givers, now on Instagram and social media, you got to be all these gurus and all this bullshit out there. And I know that we're following right along with that for sure. But I mean, I'm a huge advocate on telling anyone, you know what, don't listen to me. Educate yourself. I mean, if I am having you question anything that's going on in your life, study about it, read about it. If you don't want to listen to me directly, if you don't want to take the work that I did in my life to learn it for myself, so be it. That's fine. I applaud you on that. You should challenge people on what they say. But like one time I was getting my hair cut, and this is when I was still living in Ohio, and the girl knew that I was new, and she was probably trying to ask me out, and I had no idea because I'm a complete idiot. But she was telling me all these places to go to eat and stuff like that, and I was like, no, like I'm good. I even told her that I eat one meal a day. At that time, I was, and I do sometimes still OMAD, and she just freaked out. She's like, that's not healthy. And I was like, well,
you shouldn't do that. Stop that. You're going to
yeah,
die.
she was like, that's not safe. That's not healthy. You shouldn't do that. And I just asked her, I was like, well, where are you getting that information from? Just calmly. And she was like, well, everyone. Like, I was like, yeah, I was like, everyone's unhealthy. Everyone's over, like there you go. Like, and I rattled off some quick things like, about estrogen and all that type of stuff. And she just got really quiet. And I was like, I'm sorry I offended you. She's like, no, continue. You're making sense. I was like, okay, perfect. And then, yeah, I was like, this is very weird because usually people will continue to people will eventually won't even care. They'll just immediately be like, I gotta have tacos. I can't give up sugar.
Of course.
I gotta have sweets. I'm like, all right, well, whatever. To each his own.
Yeah, right, exactly. Going along with that though, I'd actually like to dive a little deeper with you. So you said that when you go out now, people ridicule you. Well, when you did ridicule you for your diet, or even if you talk to somebody, they give you shit about your diet, your lifestyle, all of that. Prior to you doing all of this, what was your life like? What was your social life like? Like, what were you doing prior to this that was, I guess that falls in with like a regular person's lifestyle?